Hello guys, welcome back to a brand new video. In today's video we're going to be reacting to times the rookie characters killed people. Now, I have watched it. I remember that I watched it a couple months back and I almost finished it, but then I forgot. I just watched it today and a couple of days ago. I'm on season 2. So hopefully there's no spoilers, but there probably will be, but
a lot of criminals in The Rookie that the main cast interacts with. These interactions can lead to shootouts, some episodes having multiple of them. Most of these end with the criminal being injured in some way, but there's also a few times where the main cast has killed people while on the clock. And today, I'm going to talk about every time that a main character has killed someone on the show. We're going to do this by talking about each main character, who they killed, and the story behind them. Let's start with the main man himself, John Nolan. Nolan has 2 confirmed kills. The first one being Alex Montgomery in Season 1, Episode 8, Time of Death. This was the episode where Nolan and Bishop respond to the silent alarm that was set off by a convenience store. They arrive and there's 2 guys. One of them is easily squared away, but the other, Alex Montgomery, makes a run for it, and Nolan has to chase after him. Alex runs into a house with a family in it, and you have to remember Alex is armed in this situation, so Nolan has to be very tactical about how he handles what's coming next. Alex decides not to harm the family out of panic and continues upstairs. He heads for the window, but not before Nolan could get to him. Nolan is yelling for him to put his hands up and put the gun down, but Alex doesn't do this. He turns around and holds the gun up, to which Nolan has to make the fatal shot. He is killed immediately by this, and Nolan is traumatized by the entire situation. This is when the show takes the opportunity to show the audience the procedure of what happens when an officer kills someone on duty. They don't do this every time, because obviously that would be too repetitive, but it was really cool for the show to take this type of story by the horns so early on. Next up, we have Luke Moran from Season 5, Episode 22, Under Siege. He was one of the 7 final suspects involving the masked men who critically shot Aaron Thorson and attacked Selena Juarez. The entire episode is spent finding these people, as these people tried to kill a few of their own. Through the riddle that Selena was told, through the masks themselves that led to the defunct one-act play, everything was really hard to figure out. But Luke was different from the rest, because we really got to hear about him during the end of this episode. After the stampede of masked men attacked the LAPD, Nolan, Gray, Bradford, and a few others head to the basement where they find Luke Moran. What really was shocking about Moran is that unlike most of the others, who were traffickers, violent offenders, and high-level criminals, Luke was only in jail for 90 days for elder abuse, yet he's the one that was the quote-unquote ringleader for the operation. Damn. Luke and Gray have a standoff where Luke tells the story of what happened during his time in prison. It wasn't long, but it was hard. He lost his mom while he was in there, not to mention his job and his life as a whole. Given the LAPD arrests dozens of people per day, it's hard to see how the other side is affected by it. But this doesn't matter, as Luke had done the damage, and so Gray tells him to come out. He doesn't. Instead,
no, I'm not going back.
I know I said Nolan killed him here, but it really was a team effort between him, Gray, and Bradford. But we'll get back to both of their other kills later. There's another instance that I want to bring up, but I'm putting it at the end of Nolan's section, since while it isn't outright confirmed whether this person was killed or not, it's pretty certain that he was killed based on the injuries. In Season 7, Episode 16, The Return, there was the shooter that Nolan took out after Seth was shot in the leg. Like I said, it's not 100% confirmed by the show, but I thought it was enough to give a quick honorable mention. Let's move on to the kills of Angela Lopez. She also has 2 confirmed kills on the show. The first one happened in Season 4, Episode 1, Life or Death, when she was kidnapped by La Fiera in order to steal Lopez's child. The whole situation is absolutely insane, given that not long before this, La Fiera and Angela Lopez seemingly had a mutual respect for each other due to their shared motherhood. And La Fiera has even gone out of her way to try and bless Lopez's child in order for the child to have a good life. But after the death of her son, she did a 180 and went crazy. She ambushed Lopez's wedding and took her all the way to Guatemala, where the plan was that Lopez could live in luxury for the next few months while she carried the baby, and then as soon as Lopez gives labor, La Fiera would take the baby and kill Lopez afterwards. Obviously, this is psychotic, so Lopez pushes back on this, but La Fiera tells her the other option, which is that she will put Lopez to sleep for the last few months of her life, and she'll die with her only being used as an incubator, which is even more psychotic. Luckily, Wesley, along with the LAPD, are able to come to her rescue and get her out of there, but it isn't smooth sailing. Wesley is off being killed on his own, which diverts Nolan, but the rest of the LAPD run off with Lopez to the helicopter that Max supplied while La Fiera and her goons chase after. And when they're close to the helicopter, La Fiera starts shooting at them and Lopez fires back, landing a couple of shots that kill her on the spot. She is left to rot, leaned up against the metal fence, with her plan completely foiled. This is probably my favorite death in the entire show. Ending off a recurring villain this way was awesome to watch, and I hope that one day they can do the same to Monica Stevens. Please, Alexi, please! Her other kill happened in Season 7, Episode 14, Mad About Murder, and we're talking about the killing of Malvado, the hitman that was sent after Jason Weiler, who made a couple appearances after the job was done. He was introduced in the beginning of the season after he accepted the hit on Jason from the Southern Front, and this puts Nolan in a really strange position. Jason is his wife's ex and abuser, so obviously Nolan has been wanting to go after him. But now that Malvado is involved, he has to lock in and find Jason as soon as possible before he finds him first, as then there's a murder involved instead of just getting justice. Malvado even has a run-in with Bailey herself, as he was following her around trying to get a glimpse of Jason. This all ends in Jason's murder as Nolan is too late. But this isn't when Malvado is murdered, as he ends up getting away. He ends up returning in Mad About Murder since he has a hit on Mitch Yancey, and the LAPD are not going to let him get away with it this time. They spot him on the roof, and they try to apprehend him, but he starts to run away. Eventually, Lopez, Nolan, and Bradford catch up to him and tell him to put the gun down. Like Alex from earlier, he doesn't.
Like if I was in this situation, like if I was like the villain person, whatever the name is, if I was Malvado, I'd just give up and just get arrested, cause like there's no point.
Do this.
If I shot the cop, I would have.
It turns around on them, but
so,
not
like,
before Lopez can end his life.
Just give
and
up.
that is the end of Malvado's reign.
Yep,
I
there we
think
go.
Lopez definitely has the most badass track record out of everybody. But let me know what you think in the comments once you finish the whole video. Next up, we're going to talk about Tim Bradford and the life that he took. Technically, he was there for Luke Moran, like we mentioned earlier, but he has one all on its own. In Season 5, Episode 19, A Hole in the World, we are introduced to Officer Joel Chambers, a police officer who helped out with Selena's sister's case all that time ago, as well as was on many other cases similar to it as well. After another girl named Olivia went missing, the LAPD started to realize that there was a pattern between Olivia, Selena's sister, and the rest of the victims. These were all 6-year-old girls that disappeared on the exact day but during different years. They started to put together the pieces and realized that this was the birthday of Officer Chambers' daughter, who he lost custody of when she was 6 years old. Coincidence? They didn't think so. Eventually, Chambers realized that they were onto him, and he fled to a safe house that he had Olivia stored. The police surround the house, forcing Chambers to give Olivia up, but this is when we learn the twisted mindset that he has. He thinks he's protecting these children from their home lives in the way that he couldn't with his own daughter. But eventually, he lets Olivia out, and Tim goes in there to apprehend Chambers, but like a lot of the other people in this video, he doesn't give it up, and it forces Tim to shoot him, ending his life and his serial killing reign. Joel Chambers is one of the most twisted one-time characters in the entire show, and I honestly think he could have made for a multiple episode arc involving Selena's sister. Next up, let's talk about Lieutenant Gray and his one confirmed kill outside of Luke Moran. We have to go all the way back to Season 4, Episode 15, Hit List, when Gray was being hunted down by the assassin hired by Mateo Rubio, a man who is currently on trial and killing all of the jurors. Throughout the first half of this episode, Mateo was hiring people to take these jurors out one by one. some of them being in plain sight, like in the lobby with Nolan and Smitty. They eventually catch on, and that's when Gray finds his attacker too, a woman who is carrying a concealed weapon into a courthouse. Gray's been on the force for decades now, so this was super easy for him to spot. But she doesn't back down. They fight, and even though Gray gets injured pretty badly, he ends up shooting her, and this slowly ends up killing her, which he finds out in the hospital. And interestingly, this is a flip scenario from the Alex Montgomery situation we talked about earlier, as instead of Nolan getting coached through how to take this on, it's actually Nolan doing the coaching for Gray. It's a pretty interesting episode overall, and I know a lot of people overlook it when rewatching the show, so I urge you to go back and watch this one when you have a chance. Coming up next, we have a confirmed kill from Nyla Harper. And this one is probably the most impactful kill in this entire video. This happened all the way back in Season 2, Episode 11, Day of Death. And of course, we're talking about the death of Caleb Wright, the puppet serial killer who worked closely with Rosalind Dyer while she was locked up in prison. Caleb is normal in the beginning of the prior episode when he was first introduced, but then at the end of the episode, he spikes Lucy's drink and kidnaps her. Then we get to episode 11 where she is taken to the middle of nowhere, getting the date tattooed to her body to symbolize her day of death. The entire LAPD is out looking for her at this time, and while this is happening, Lucy attempts to make an escape, to which Caleb stops her and he one-ups his plan. But the LAPD do eventually figure out about where Caleb's hiding spot is, and Nyla makes the blow that kills him. This ends up actually becoming an issue though, as he was the only one who knew where she was buried. Luckily they do find her later in the episode, but this shot from Nyla Harper almost could have led to another death, one of their own. Those were all of the times that the main characters killed people on The Rookie. Make sure to hype up this video if you're on mobile to show me some love, and subscribe to see more videos like this one. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, that was a crazy one. Yeah. Bye guys, hope you guys enjoyed, and yeah, see you in the next one.